Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. This video is on the full moon in Pisces, which happens on the 26th of August 2018 at 12:56 p.m. and that's based on British summer time. So that's 4 minutes to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're on the east coast of the States, subtract 5 hours. So what's that? 8 in the morning. If you're on the west coast, subtract 8 hours. So that's 5 in the morning. And if you're in Central Europe, add an hour, so it's a 2 in the afternoon. If you're India, Dubai, 3 or 4 hours, and so on. Australia, 8 to 10 and 11, and New Zealand. So, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful August, and you have had a wonderful August. What I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to go through the full moon in depth and tell you what it's about. And I was going to do this live, but I forgot that in these videos, I put a picture of the chart up for you guys so you can see what the actual chart looks like, and I don't know how to do that live, so I am filming this, then so let's get started then. So the moon is at 3 degrees and it's illuminated by a sun that's at 3 degrees in Virgo. Now 3 in numerology is about communication and the way you think and new beginnings. In astrology, Mercury is the communication planet and it rules the sign of Virgo. And when Mercury is in Virgo, it's like a sponge absorbing information. So we've got the sun at 3 degrees in Virgo. So you're able to absorb loads of information and be very analytical and logical and see things that you would have missed at other times. But you're also able to express your views and to stand in your own power, because that Virgo energy allows you to be really grounded and to say, this is the way it is. And here you go, the truth, my truth, and take it or leave it. It's a really kind of great energy because you don't feel compelled to make something up, to soften it, or you can be honest and really express your truth. So it's a great time to have honest conversations with people and to really take a good, honest look at your own life and to see how happy you are. It's also on top of the midheaven. So the analysis, especially with the Virgo sun, applies to your working life. This full moon is a great time to use the heightened imagination that the full moon in Pisces gives you, because you're being showered with loads of Pisces energy. The full moon is totally illuminated, so the tides are higher than they usually are. We feel the energy much more strongly, and Pisces is all about the imagination and the spiritual realm, and really just the sky's the limit. It's thinking of things that you could have never thought about, that you could have never dreamed of. So that's really on your side here. And that's what the moon is. It's on the IC, so the sun is on the midheaven, which has to do with career and work, and really having a good look at that, and that's great. But the moon is on the IC at 3 degrees in Pisces, so the IC is your roots, who you are in here, deep down. Like, if you close your eyes and you're like, where am I? I'm not in my foot, I'm not in my elbow, I'm not in my nose, where am I? Where am I really? I'm everywhere in my body and I'm nowhere. And it's very interesting that the moon at 3 degrees in Pisces and a full moon showers you with this beautiful spiritual energy that makes you feel absolutely connected to the higher realms. And on your most deepest core level, you start to realize that you're taken care of and that there is something bigger and loving out there that wants to take care of you, that wants to help you in your path in life, and that is unconditionally loving. So this is a wonderful full moon for all the agnostics and all the atheists out there. Having a spiritual awakening is something that happens to most of us through pain. In my case, I had to suffer really emotional and physical pain over and over and over again, and I had to fall on my face several times before I said, okay, I give up. I don't have all the answers, because I was like, that's it, there is no God. When we're dead, and that's it. And I was very rigid with that. But then when I was when I was in pain, I was like, you can tell me to stand on my head and twirl around and I'll do it. So I was like, You want me to be willing to believe that there's something bigger than me? Okay, I'll be willing to. I'll fake it. That's not that bad. I'll fake it. If something happens, great. And luckily, I went through the steps through a 12-step program. So those are things like Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous and Codependence Anonymous, all of those things. They offer a 12-step program, and it's designed to help you have a spiritual awakening. So you can do it through pain and addiction and things like that, because the only solution to those problems is a spiritual one. But you can also do it without pain. And especially on days like this, if you're an agnostic or an atheist and you sit down here during the full moon in Pisces and you just sit somewhere and you just let the energy wash over you, you will feel that there's something on your side. Just allow some time and space for it so that you can hear it. You know, praying is talking to something bigger, and meditating is listening to it. So just listen. Be out in nature if you feel connected with nature. I do very much, and I often just the breeze and the wind talks to me. If you're a water sign, go be by the water. If you're a fire sign, build yourself a beautiful fire in the fireplace at your home and just look in the flames. Go walk outside. Go get some fresh air. Go up high. Do something that's aligned with your true nature. And 3 is communication, like I said. The moon is the part of you that's really the most sensitive part of you that allows you to go, this is who I am, and this is what allows me to go, I can just relax. And in Pisces at 3 degrees, you'll feel so comfortable communicating with something that's unmanifest and not physical and tangible. So for instance, if you're someone who's very literal minded, you're going to have a problem with that. Like if you're a guy, for instance, watching this and you don't know anything about spirituality and you work as a construction guy. So your day is filled with, bricks and mortar and wood and things like that, and money, and you have a family, and everything's quite physical and tangible. You're not going to have a lot of time to sit there and philosophize and think, oh, what's this all about? Because you're working and busy. But especially people like that, today is a miracle. This full moon is a miracle. It's also a kite. I'll go into that in a little bit. But it's a miracle in the sense that even those who have no connection whatsoever, if you have the tiniest little bit of willingness today and you just try and hear, or you become willing to make a connection, it will wash over you and you'll be swept away in it. And you won't lose yourself in it, but you'll re-find your true self, and you'll find the self that has always been loved and supported. When I had that awakening, I was like, oh my God, you've always been with me. I didn't realize you were always with me. You protected me there and you protected me there. I didn't realize. Thank you. And that was in hindsight. Now, the moon and the sun, they form a lot of relationships. First of all, the moon forms a sextile with Uranus at 2 degrees in Taurus. So there's an element that your dreams and your feelings and your connection with yourself is going to bring chaos into your physical circumstances, because you're going to change them, because you now have a stronger relationship with yourself, so you will demand that your external circumstances reflect that. So there may be an understanding or a perception for the first time, you know what, this job really doesn't help me very much. Maybe I should do something about this in future. The moon also forms a sextile with Saturn at 2 degrees, and Saturn is about structure, and that says things are good the way they are. You have security, you have solidity, and solidity is something you need in your life. Then Saturn and Saturn and Uranus, they form a trine, and then Saturn also forms a trine with the sun, and so does Uranus. So then we have that big blue triangle that you can see, and the kite at the bottom of it with the moon. So the grand trine is this ability to take these wonderful ideas that you've absorbed and downloaded, and that you really, in a very practical sense now, are considering and saying, well, how am I going to do this? I've written to the publisher, how much are we going to have to invest? When is the release date? And when are we going to be done with this project? Super, super grounded and practical. That will create a new stability in your life. and it will disrupt the current trajectory of your life, particularly in terms of how you live and your financial situation. The talent here with the moon on top is that your financial situation can really thrive and lift up and take on a life of its own as a result of things that you listen to through this full moon blessing. It's going to have a transformative effect on your life if you take heed and you implement the guidance. Now, that's a big deal. I mean, this is a day where people, like I said, who are totally disconnected can find the connection. People who are already on a spiritual path, this is the day where you can really shine your light as brightly as you ever have, and you can really have a hit on your hands. You can decide on something and make it, and then in a few weeks or in a few months from now, depending on how long it takes to create your desire, you will really have something that's a wonderful success in your life. So this is, I'm going to call this is called the Sturgeon Moon, the September moon, according to, they name each moon. Next month is the Harvest Moon, but this August one is the Sturgeon Moon. And sturgeons aren't particularly pretty fish, but it's the time of year when I think they're easiest to catch. I would call this the fish that swims into your head moon and gives you amazing ideas, and then it swims out of your head to float into someone else's, and it leaves you with this amazing multitude of fabulous ideas that you can implement, which are really part of your life purpose. And let's all say thanks to the sturgeon who's going to give us a visit today, who's going to pay us a visit, because he's going to leave behind lots of great ideas, and it's up to us to put them into practice. Now, we've got a yod happening with the sun, so that's super important. So a yod is also known as the finger of God. It connects the sun with Mars in Capricorn at 28 degrees, Black Moon Lilith at 2 degrees, and the south node of the moon in Aquarius. And the other quincux that forms the finger of God is with Chiron in Aries. So the thing that the ego, where the ego now tries to get involved and tries to sabotage this, because whenever something is good and the better it is, the more the ego has to fight against it, because we're on the planet of the ego. The ego created this world, it's an illusion, and it doesn't want you to break free of your chains, because then you don't have to redo this whole reincarnation thing, and you move on to freedom and to your next assignment or nirvana or whatever it is that's the next step on your journey. So what the ego is saying today is that you can't do this. I'm going to remind you of every time you did something independently where you failed, and I'm going to try and prevent you from taking any action. I'm speaking as the ego here now, because you have failed in the past, and I'm going to try and convince you that if you do something today or take an idea and say, I will run with this in future over the next couple of days, it's going to fail, it's not going to work. You need other people. You need to serve other people. It's never about you. You can't do this. It's selfish. So the ego is really pulling out all the stops today. It's saying that if you think about your dreams and realizing them and really making your own life fabulous and wonderful and building your own metaphorical castle, your own wonderful life, building your life. As far as the ego is concerned, that's a really bad idea, because if you do decide to do it on this day, you can build a fabulous life. So ignore the ego or turn the volume down on the ego. The only way I found of turning the volume down on the ego is by having a meditation practice in place, through prayer, by connecting with nature. For you, it may be swimming or tennis or meditation or yoga, or like my friend Michelle, she's on a ceremonial breath workshop this week. So it depends, but the ego is stepping it up, because you're really likely to succeed on this day. Now, the moon in itself forms other relationships. It forms a quincux with the north node at 4 degrees in Leo. So your life purpose, if you're someone who's destined to be in the spotlight, to shine, to facilitate a healing message, if you feel like a life coach or a light worker or a spiritual healer, this full moon especially is going to help you fulfill your life mission. All the clairvoyants out there who aren't doing it yet, all the spiritual healers, the reality is we're in a time that's never happened before. 2012 changed everything. People thought the end of the world was coming. We're now in a new consciousness. You can see that with young people. We're in a non-binary time. People are getting that things aren't just good or bad or black and white. There are gray areas and we're all one. And because several people in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s have worked on themselves and become more enlightened, it's now gone mainstream and we're in a society that's becoming more enlightened, and I believe that. I have huge faith in the next generation in the sense that they don't need to label everything and put it into a drawer and that's that. They can see things for what they really are without judging. Now, another connection this moon makes is a semi-square to Mars and Black Moon Lilith. So that's the same thing. Friction between the self and others. So that guilt, the ego, again saying, if you're only doing this for yourself, you're really being selfish. The reality is, if you build an empire, it's only an empire if it's useful anyway. So you can only build something wonderful and manifest something wonderful if it's going to be something that you can be proud of and that's positive. So if you want to create a painting, then you create that, and by doing it, if it's divinely guided and inspired, the people who look at that painting are going to have their perspectives changed. If you decide to launch a great business today that's based around a wellness center, then you fulfill your life purpose to be this healer. You are at the center of being, you're the front of this wellness center, and you can really achieve this destiny that you've always wanted to achieve. But like I said, the ego is going to try and get in the way of that. The moon also forms a sextile with Saturn, so I've mentioned that already. That's part of the kite. Let's see what the sun and let's just see what all of the others are doing anyway. Mercury is next to the North Node there. So Mercury is at 14 degrees in Leo. So by speaking your truth, you will get to freedom. Venus is at 18 degrees in Libra. 18 degrees is 9, spirituality and completion. The more you work with your higher self, your ancestors, the ascended masters, your spirit guides, or a feeling that possibly there is something bigger, just that willingness, you're able to create beautiful things, you're able to articulate yourself, and you're able to really pour your love into something that you're building today. This isn't just an opportunity to make a quick buck. This is about, I am representing who I am through the work that I do. Jupiter is sitting just underneath the ascendant. The ascendant is 14 degrees Scorpio. So the natural default setting for you today is to feel things intensely and to be at the very root of who you are and to say authenticity is all that matters. And especially the people who want to use their authenticity to heal others, you're going to get ideas that will put you in the limelight. So don't dismiss those. If you're someone who doesn't desire to do great big works, this is your idea. This is your day to really create something that will add value or entertainment to people's lives, and that will help you in return. So they made a film about this even, Jupiter Ascendant, with Mila Kunis a couple of years ago. The film wasn't very good, but the principle was that anyone who's born with Jupiter on their ascendant is royalty. Now in astrology, really, I mean, they tapped into something there, because if you do have Jupiter on the rising sign, like in this chart, then that means that it's a miracle. in the sense of how lucky you will get that day. And this full moon, I already told you, you're taking a shower in Pisces energy, and you've got this earth talent that allows you to take that information and to build your empire out of it. Abstract, unmanifest, intangible thoughts become real things today. I'm going to start writing to the makeup company to see if they want an offer, want to work with me, all of that kind of stuff. So if you take a risk today and you turn down the volume on the ego and you say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it despite past failures, I'm going to take a risk, you'll succeed. Saturn and Pluto are 17 degrees away from each other. They're both in Capricorn. So by working, you create a solidity and a structure and a foundation. And you already have a foundation in many ways that you can use to really now transform and build something else and bring life to one of your ideas, to breathe life into something. Neptune is 12 degrees away from your moon. So the moon is who you are and the sensitive part of you. Neptune is the water planet of dreams and imagination, manifestation. At 15 degrees, which is 6 in Pisces, right next to that moon. So if you can feel it, dream it, and see it, you'll manifest it. Chiron is in Aries at 1 degree. So again, Chiron is the wounded healer. The way to get rid of the ego is to act, to take action, to be practical today, to plan, to write things down, to say, this is how we're going to schedule this, and we're going to do it. I've spoken about Uranus, but it's time to make changes in your physical life and to improve your physical life. And we're building a tower here. This is like the tower in the tarot, except there's no lightning striking. There are no people falling out. This is you building your life. It's interesting because, we're born. We all, it was weird, when I was young, I've always been intuitive. Like the other day I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but there's certain things which are great. Like I was in Brighton at the promenade and I was like, oh, the train's coming. I hear that in my mind, and I look to the right, no train. I look to the left and the train comes around the corner. I just know certain things. And when I was younger, I knew that I was going to die at 18. I knew it. So I lived my life like I was going to die at 18. But then when I was 18, 19, I was like, what do I do now? And these are the kind of days for people who are in that position. Like I was like, what do I do? Okay, I was tricked somehow. I think that was purposely designed for me. I don't want to go into, I'll make a video on that one day, but there was a real reason for that. And this is the kind of event, it's a full moon. So this isn't an eclipse, it doesn't last for 6 months. It's a one-day opportunity, amazing event to discover a talent of yours that can be a breakthrough and a success, and that can put you in the spotlight. And all you need to do is listen to your feelings today, to keep an open mind, and to be willing to roll up your sleeves and to do the legwork and to put some effort in and to be practical. And luckily, on this day, everything conspires to make you a practical person who does act on the things that they are receiving. So you're not ungrateful, you're not distracted. The ego is trying to lay a trap. I mentioned that, but if you overcome that, oh, I'm being so selfish, I should be helping other people. If you can deal with that and put it to the side and really focus on creating this life you want for yourself, you can do it. And it's possible. I'm an example of that. 10 years ago, I was miserable, I was drinking, I was in a job I despised, I didn't know what on earth I ought to be doing. And then I had this awakening, and an awakening, if you ask for it, the universe will give it to you. You don't have to get there through pain. If you're like, universe, I want to be closer to you, I don't feel you, tell me how I can connect with you. Angels, I don't hear you. Can you speak up, please? You talk to them like a relationship. You build a relationship, and you don't have to reach rock bottom to build a spiritual practice. And this full moon is, like I said, for all the doubters, you really get, and if your concept of a God is me, that I just feel like I have an anchor inside of me and that's okay, or if your concept of a higher power is a giant heart that pulses in your mind's eye and you can see it just loving you and exuding love all the time, maybe that's your higher power. Maybe it is the man with the beard on the cloud. It does not matter. Just listen to that unusual force that is outside of you and inside of you at the same time, and don't dismiss it, and listen to it, because it's going to allow you to make and build your best life possible. If I dismissed the message years ago I got the message, take your daily tarot reading and put it on YouTube. If I'd ignored that message, I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you. I would still be in a job that I dislike, and by having meditated and received that message, that very simple message, was the biggest gift in my life. It's transformed my life completely. So that's what can happen to all of us. I'm going to be meditating like crazy on the 26th of August. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you would like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. In my private readings, I use astrology, tarot, and numerology, and the tarot shows me what's coming up in future. The natal chart shows me what your life purpose is, where you've been in past lifetimes, what you're good at when it comes to work, and whether your working talents are connected to your life purpose, how to connect them if they are, and it shows me what's destined for you in love and health and spiritual progress, family, travel, moving. If you're interested in having any of those questions answered, also if you're wondering whether you're compatible with someone or when you're going to move, please order a reading with me on my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Just click on the readings tab to order the reading. Hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. It's the best way to be notified of when new videos come out, and I have now recently discovered that I can do live videos on YouTube, so a lot of them are going to be live now. So you need to subscribe and turn the bell on, and then you'll be notified. And I've always done I do live card readings where people ask me questions and I pull a card for them. It's just a very it's a very small, just quick indicator of the energy. It's not an in-depth view, but they're fun and it gives people guidance, especially people who can't afford a reading. That's why I do them for free, so that people kind of get an idea of what direction to go. So now I've moved those to YouTube, so you'll be seeing a lot of those on YouTube. So it is the time to subscribe to my channel. Please do. I will speak to you tomorrow for the daily tarot reading, next week for the weekly horoscope, the new moon that's coming up in September, and the full moon, the harvest moon that's coming up. So those are things to look out for. Have an amazing time during this full moon. Seriously, I looked at the chart and it's just like, how beautiful is this? And with a kite, and it's really a life-changing thing where we can love ourselves and build something we're so proud of. And it's going to help other people, because if you're proud of it and if you feel like this is adding value to the world, then believe me, the world is going to be grateful and add value back to you. I think that's a wonderful place to leave it. Remember to subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you soon.